Hey everyone, it's Dale Walker here, and I am live on YouTube. And today I am going to teach you or go through lesson 12, which is kind of a wrapping up and a preview of the Correcticise for Life program. So, my team and I have been working diligently behind the scenes to get this all ready for you guys, and looking forward to sharing it. I'm just hoping that technology goes ahead and cooperates with me. So I'm going to get started with the presentation, and if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. So without further ado, we're on mini training 12 program preview. I am Dale Walker. I am a licensed physical therapist with degrees in physical therapy, a master's in exercise science, and cardiac rehab as well as fitness. The website that you is called fixyouonline.com. On YouTube, we are on Fix You Online TV. There are a lot of great free videos for you guys to access about wellness, fitness, and a lot of foot and ankle stuff. And then there's a Facebook group called Fix You Online. So feel free to reach out to me via any of those different avenues. And so we'll go ahead and get started, and we're going to recap a little bit. So on day one, I went ahead and defined fitness, and traditional, like when I went to school, fitness was the top three. And I decided to include sensory fitness because I think it is underrated, overlooked, and super important when it comes to functioning, particularly when we get older, because the research that shows all of these things diminish with age. I would say the one that probably diminishes the least if we've maintained it is going to be flexibility, because there are yogis who are highly advanced in their age that are extremely flexible because they have been working on their flexibility throughout their lives. So but again, cardiovascular fitness, there's a measurement that determines cardiovascular fitness. And back when I got my master's, the age that it diminished in females was around 16 to 18 years of age. But in men, it peaked, actually, I'm sorry, it peaked at those ages at 16 to 18, and I think 23 for men. So cardiovascular fitness, then we talk about mobility, we can talk about strength, and then of course sensory fitness. Now with strength, again, important to remember the core muscles, not just your moving muscles. So again, your core muscles are those tiny muscles that protect your joints, that allow the moving muscles to work. These are muscles like your rotator cuff is a core muscle, like your abdominal core, your oblique muscle versus abdominis, and those types of small muscles that are within a joint that are protective are your core muscles. And those need to be strengthened, and they diminish in their strength when there is inflammation. So again, for every cubic centimeter of inflammation, a muscle will shut down by 1%. If there is inflammation due to arthritis or trauma, or even microtraumas, that strength will be affected. So really important that we don't cause an inflammatory process, either from trauma, mini trauma, or certainly diet and other disease processes that can cause inflammation. And then lastly, we talked about sensory fitness, which is, again, in particular, most noticeably changing in as far as middle age and on, or mid-age and on, is that proprioception as well as the vestibular system. And both are integral to things like coordination, agility, and certainly fall prevention, which is imbalance, which is huge. All right, now the question is it age or disuse? So again, I talked about the flexibility with the yogis, and I think what happens with strength, certainly, and cardiovascular fitness is that some people, I know a lot of friends of mine, who are now my age, which is 50, and they were athletic in high school, maybe even college, but then they kind of stopped doing their sport. And there aren't that many lifetime sports out there, what they call lifetime sports, like tennis, and I would even say volleyball, because they require a group of individuals. And especially nowadays, group activities are being more and more discouraged rather than encouraged. So there's a lot of opportunity for disuse with regard to when you're going into advanced age that might not have anything to do with age, but just a lack of, if you don't move it, you lose it. And it's as simple as that. Then there can be, lifestyle things like having a child, or, having a trauma, or having surgery, or, places where we don't put a priority on our fitness, or we do put a priority on our fitness, but we're not addressing the fitness in a safe manner so that we're not causing injuries. And then obviously, if we start to feel kind of lousy after we're doing exercise, that's negative reinforcement. So why would we want to continue? And so these are all questions that I think really do need to be kind of researched, and also, see what happens in your own life. And because I have my own experiences as well. And I would have to say that given, now that I'm 50, I can confess that I don't see a huge difference in the ability for me to do the sport that I did when I was in my teens. So what I wanted to emphasize that is that I don't think that it necessarily is an aging process, I guess, unless, you are a professional athlete and you need to perform at the highest of levels. But for most of us, we just want to be active and we want to feel good. And we certainly don't want to evoke any sort of trauma in our body or wear and tear. Here are some characteristics of correct fitness, right? So there's a correct and an incorrect way to go about fitness. First and foremost, it needs to be performed on an aligned body. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to make sure that your alignment is ideal, so that you're not causing wear and tear on your body, and that you are engaging the muscles properly for function, frequency, and flow. The second is that the correct fitness will activate the core muscles and address them. So it will incorporate them in your fitness regime. Now, again, if you're doing the activities on an aligned body, you are more likely to engage your core muscles than if you are not, because again, they are the automatic stabilizers that engage when we want to go ahead and move our muscles and or maintain our posture or balance. They automatically fire. But if they're not in good alignment, or there's inflammation causing these muscles to shut down, then there's going to be a problem. Then again, we talked about active flexibility exercises, not passive. So not passive stretching, but actively moving a limb or limbs or areas of the body in an active motion rather than against gravity and having gravity pull, because the research has shown that that actually can be more hazardous to our fitness and well-being. Then again, training and improving sensory fitness. The correct fitness trains and improves sensory fitness. And so again, sensory fitness is something that is completely overlooked in most traditional exercise programs, unless you're working with a trainer or unless you're in a rehab type of setting where your balance is going to be incorporated with such exercises. That is not general knowledge. And then again, I know of none trainers that focus specifically on vestibular, and truthfully, few physical therapists, including myself. It just gets overlooked, particularly in people who present without a problem. If balance is an issue, then I'll look at it. But if it's not, then I'm not really thinking about it or incorporating it into the rehabilitation regimes that I prescribe. Then it also needs specific to your functional goals, activities, sports, etc. So we mentioned that there's something called specificity of training, that if you want to get better at something, you need to do that thing. And as we get older, some things that we need to do become kind of difficult, like squatting or going up and down stairs, or even walking can be laborious or fatiguing, right? Because again, when you are fit, then these activities actually should invigorate you rather than wear you down and wear you out. So again, based on functional goals, activities that you like to do, and if you like to do sports, certainly that is a functional goal, particularly skiing. And my grandfather was an avid skier, and when he had to give up his skis, I really do think that his quality of life diminished significantly, and he was a shell of himself. I mean, he just loved to ski. And most individuals, both of my grandparents were excellent skiers. They started skiing in their 30s. They started pretty late. But what happened with both of them is that when they felt like they lost control, because they were really control freaks on their skis, and certainly if you lose control, you're either going to fall or collide with somebody else. And when they felt that they could not stop on a dime and control their skiing, that is when both of them hung up their skis. And what I didn't know back then, and I know now, is that has a lot to do with the mobility in the foot and ankle, and specifically the grounding of the big toe into the floor. And so a friend and colleague of mine actually was in a ski accident, and it was actually the last time she skied, so now several years ago, where she was unable to stop, and she wound up hitting a skier and causing trauma to her wrist, a fracture that has been negative. And she said to me, if my big toe was on the ground, I would have been able to stop. So the footwork that is done in a correct fitness or a rehabilitation situation is going to be imperative for sports such as skiing and keeping the longevity of skiers on the slope. Certainly some little tips with that as well. And then again, appropriate for your personal goals. So, do you want to walk 7 miles a day? If you do, then that's a goal. If you're going to be traveling to, on a hiking trip, like going to Iceland, which there's major hills and hiking, well, that's going to be a personal goal, and you need to train as such. So when I went to Iceland coming from Florida, which is flat as a pancake, I was really sucking wind because my fitness was not, even though I have decent cardiovascular fitness, it's not great, but my body was not used to climbing hills. So again, it's very important to address your personal goals and coordinate your fitness to be in line with them. Because otherwise, I managed in Iceland, but I could have done better. And I was a bit uncomfortable. And even a friend of mine who was on the trip, she was actually sadly unable to do a lot of things because she had advanced arthritis in her hip that prevented her from being able to participate in some of those activities. So really important to address. And then lastly, it's reinforced by the knowledge and understanding of how to perform activities in your daily life and also with exercise that reinforce corrections that are made. So once you make a correction, if you go ahead and do something that's not wise, then you can actually undo the corrective things that you have been performing in for your corrective activities, like prolonged sitting, for example, or prolonged sitting in a bad position, or bending in an inappropriate way can then trigger the inflammatory process and undo that core muscle activity that you've been working to build up. So sometimes simple things, particularly when you're vulnerable and you already have a trauma, injury, or degeneration in a particular area, you have to be very mindful of how you're holding your body, how you're using your body, and how you're performing activities. And most of us don't know that there's a right and wrong way to do things, number one. And number two, most of us don't have the body to allow us to do these things properly. And that's where this all is this cascade of aging poorly. So again, you know, I think that I had to wait until I was 50 to launch this program because I've known this stuff for a long time, but I'm like my own proof of concept. And, you know, I had to be sure that I was kind of right about it. All right. So then you have corrective activities, and these are actually the activities that correct the alignment and therefore the function, frequency, and flow of the body system. Okay, so you have to corrective activities in order to align the body so that you can do corrective fitness. Otherwise, you're doing half the job and you're not going to get as the best results, certainly, and be able to achieve them in the quickest amount. So the characteristics of corrective activities are that they reinforce the proper alignment, they rebalance the muscular systems like the core muscle and the moving muscles, they reinforce proper movement with your knowledge and then your body on how to move, and they need to incorporate release of connective tissue, because I went into that pretty specifically where, you know, people will argue or say, you know, people who do modalities that don't involve release, you know, can claim improvements in movement. And I believe that. I believe that that's possible. However, I do not believe that, I believe that those achievements, those improvements could be achieved in a much faster period of time when release is involved in connective tissue. It just makes sense. And since there are so many areas of our body that have you know, tiny little joints, or even again, specific places within connective tissue. Because if you maybe undergo massage, or when I work on a person's body, I can find 50 sore spots, quote unquote, you know, places that need to be released, but I don't know whether that release is going to elicit the change that I want to happen unless I do certain testing. With my, I think somebody has their audio on, so if you could just mute yourself, that'd be great. They also provide an individual with the proper knowledge on how to align and move properly. So if you don't know what your posture is going to be, like I didn't when I graduated PT school until I met my mentor, and I realized that I was standing with my rib cage that was not over my pelvis. And I took a couple of steps and had that epiphany that I must be wasting so much energy because I was walking and standing inefficiently and actually moving inefficiently in my body. You know, if I didn't know that, then I could never know how to correct it. So again, corrective activities teach you that, so that when you can be mindful of a habitual pattern, like when you're walking, for example, you can kind of tune in and just kind of go through your different body segments and make sure that you're aligned properly so that you can practice it. And once you practice, it becomes what we call unconscious learned, which means that you're able to do it without consciously thinking of it. So, what programs do this in the world? Well, I made one, Correcticise for Life, okay? And I really am you know, am excited about it because I feel that it is the only program out there that addresses everything that I just spoke about. Because if it didn't, it would not be, first of all, I wouldn't want to put it out there. And secondly, it just wouldn't be complete. It wouldn't be adequate, because the goal is, as you see in the center, is to optimize. So, you know, what are the steps? Well, the first step is, you know, recognition. So you need to have awareness and acknowledge, and then take action that, you know, you want to become more fit in your life. You know, you are not functioning up to snuff or where you want to be. And then the next thing is to go ahead and you need to then renovate your body, just like you would renovate a car or renovate a house. This is the only body you are going to get. If you only got one car and you were told that you could only drive that car or no other car, you would take care of it. And by the time we hit mid-age, 40s, 50s, and above, we are beyond need for a renovation. And that's what this program offers, using the Walker method, which involves release of connective tissue, knowledge and tools to realign, and then activities to rebalance your system. And once you do those two things, you recognize and renovate, you revive your system. And then after that, what you need to do is have the mindset, the movement, and the motion, right, to reinforce this renovation and restore optimal functioning, relieving pain, and regaining motion and your ability to do the activities that you want to do in your life. And ultimately, you are optimizing the entire system. And we can do no better than to optimize. Everyone is going to have a different optimal, but there's no other way to really, truly, comprehensively optimize your fitness, your functioning, without taking these steps. So the goals of the Correcticise for Life program is that it's a comprehensive fitness for people in their 40s, 50s, and beyond. Is this appropriate for people younger than 40? Absolutely, especially if their body's falling apart. I just, in my own personal life, taking care of myself, and again, amongst my friends who are of my same cohort, typically people started to complain and start to have problems in their 40s, the active ones in particular. But, when I used to see clients who were young having problems, it was like the best thing ever. And they would be discouraged because they'd have to come to therapy. But I would say to them, listen, we can take care of this now. This is going to be a problem in the future. You're lucky that it's happening now because we can make the changes really easily. Whereas when it's a 90-year-old body, gosh, it's a lot tougher. It is designed to undo the wear and tear of time. So again, we want to create movement. We want to facilitate protective movement. We want to restore ideal alignment so that we become more resilient from future trauma and disease, which is goal number 8. And then it's to improve the efficiency of fitness and make life your exercise. So the program is really not designed for a significant time commitment because it is for your life. I mean, if you wanted to do Correcticise for skiing or Correcticise for a particular aspect of your life, then that might be more involved. But just general fitness, the programs are really 7 to 15 minutes. And I will give you some recommendations on how to use that, as well as, an hour every other week commitment to being live with me and learning the renovation, the release, the realign, and the reinforcement for your body renovation. And another goal is to improve the quality of your fitness, the entire quality of your fitness. So that includes sensory fitness, and that is included in the program. Relieve pain. So if you're having pain, ideally, these programs will help relieve it. And if not, hopefully there's a program on Fix You Online, my other group of specialized programs that take you step by step if you have a particular diagnosis. And I have a bunch of those for the foot and ankle. Recover from injury. So if you've had old injuries, this will help you kind of recover from them, especially if you haven't had intervention to deal with them in the past, because energy is not created nor destroyed. So if you've had any sort of trauma and you haven't cleared that energy, it's still in your body in some way, shape, or form. This is why I believe that football players wind up with CTE and then issues with their brain because of the traumas, the buildup of traumas at such a young age for an extended period of time. And renovate the body, okay? So that's the other thing that is the goal of the Correcticise for Life program, because we need to renovate our body just like we would renovate our car or our house and care for it. So here's the model of what it looks like. So we have the fitness routines. Those are about 7 to 15 minutes long, and they're simple and they're safe, and they're just a movie that you watch and you follow, and there's some time in between it so that you can get prepared. There's some, I'll be going through this a little bit more, but there's, some time to get ready and that kind of thing. And then Correcticise your body, which is to realign and rebalance. And this includes the total body renovation, as well as certain body parts that might need more attention with just particular exercise. And then Correcticise your life is proper and protective strategies for things that you do in your daily life, like breathing. So there's a whole respiration rescue program on there that I filmed a few months ago to make you more resilient in your pulmonary function, which is pretty important nowadays. All right, so with that, what I want to do is go ahead and see if there are any questions, but also then show you the Correcticise for Life program and show you what that and what the membership page looks like. So hopefully we can get that on my screen. Let's see. No, that's not it. Oh boy. Okay. Let's see. And of course, I have my toolbar in the wrong position. All right. Yeah, good. I moved it. Okay. All right. This is the Correcticise for Life membership page. And what we have right here is the fitness routines. So those are broken down into anti-aging, level 1 routine in supine, which is lying down. So again, these can be done in a variety of positions, particularly for people who can't tolerate standing or sitting for a period of time. They can do them in either of those positions. And those are the beginner level programs. Then we have advanced level in lying down, as well as standing, and then a beginner balance program. And these will include proprioceptive and vestibular exercises. And then in the Correcticise your body, we have the different body parts: the foot, the knee, the hip, the lower back, the rib cage, the shoulders, and the neck, which is called the cervical area. And these are activities. These are not movies, they're individual activities for each of these. So again, there are a number of different exercises. When you click on it on the side, you can play the exercise or activity. They're 30 seconds in length, each of them. So, and then you can pick and choose which ones you want to do, but all of these focus on the foot. So they reinforce the work that either you've had done on your foot or that you'll do in the total body renovation. So when we go to Correcticise your life, we have activities that help promote balance, for example. And again, these are various different activities that focus on these particular areas. Some of them are more difficult than others. I mean, here's a single leg stand, moving your head. This is a high level vestibular exercise and proprioception. So again, you can see what's appropriate for you and kind of pick and choose a few activities. And then we go to, that is also where we have breathing. And that is the respiratory rescue class that I was talking about, as well as some additional activities for breathing. So these classes are more like 30 minutes a piece, but these are the 30-second activities. Moving on, we have total body renovation, and that's what we're going to start, a body renovation from your toes to your head, because it's all about your base. So these have PDF instructions, as well as the releases of the various different structures within the foot. So there are 14 joints just in the toes, and we are going to renovate or release all 14 of them, which is going to be highly important for balance, for walking, for corns, for calluses, can contribute to neuromas, talar bunions, regular bunions, hammer toes, and even plantar fasciitis. So it starts really with the toe because it is our base of support. And if we don't address the foot in particular, then anything that we do above is not going to be as effective. So this is where you need to start. And here on the event schedule, this is where the total body renovation is. So we are starting the rejuvenation masterclass is going to be on this Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Here's the link to the Zoom meeting. So it'll be live on Zoom, it'll be taped and that kind of thing. And then lastly, so far, I've interviewed a number of different professionals, including Patrick McGowan, who is a breathing specialist and a pioneer in nasal breathing. And you will have access to the video cast that I do with these individual experts. And when I interview them, if it's okay with them, we will have that interview be on Zoom so that you guys can ask questions live. But you will definitely have access to anything that is live will be taped. Anything that is taped will be on the membership page. So, you know, that is this, this program in a nutshell. And the total body renovation is starting with our toes masterclass. So the videos are on here to start, but then again, the masterclass is going to be on August 19th, that's Wednesday. And we're going to teach you the foot freedom formula. We'll give you the exact action steps to release all 14 joints of the toes. I had mentioned this. Get a roadmap to get back to the activities you love. And then with the training, you get the live class with the Q&A. There's the members area on the total body renovation. You get 14-day free membership for Correcticise for life, so you have access to the entire program. We're going to do a bonus live session on Wednesday, August 26th. You'll have recordings of the masterclass. And these mini trainings that I'm doing right now, they're going to be on the membership page as well. And so what does the training look like? We're going to learn the comprehensive core release and the rotational release that I talked about the other day. We're going to understand the why behind the what. So what causes hammer toes? If they were normal, everybody would have them. So what's going on in your foot in particular that's causing that to happen? Then we're going to work on realigning the toes. So the understanding of the correct toe position and then some strategies to do with that. And then how to reinforce and rebalance the toes doing activities that are going to, again, reinforce the work that we do. To do these reinforcement and rebalancing activities without proper alignment and without appropriate release can potentially be dangerous. So that's, again, what makes this program a little bit different. And then you'll have access to the Q&A recordings. So that's what you get with the toe masterclass. And then with the Correcticise for Life program, you can go ahead and preview the schedule of the upcoming classes. This is the body renovation class. And also take a look at, you know, what you get, the total body renovation, the fitness routines, video instructions, and also the bonuses. And so I am offering this for 14-day free trial, which is going to give you 2 live classes and then access to, you know, the 2 master classes, which is the toes and the metatarsals, which is the next aspect up. That's going to be released on August 26th online. I will also be doing a bonus Q&A that day, but on September 2nd is going to be when that live masterclass will take place. So if you are interested in joining, then here is the link to go ahead and purchase it. So again, you'll have 14 days free, and it's going to include everything that I just talked about. I'm going to go ahead and put that on YouTube. And so you can start right away and get ready for our masterclass on Thursday so that you can be prepared to go ahead and get that going and kind of study in advance. I'm not one of those people who likes to do that, but there are people in the world that do. So you can go ahead and prepare for that and then have any questions that you may have. If you can't join live, again, you'll have access to the recordings, and they are going to go on that membership page. It will go under total body renovation. So again, I can share that. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. It'll go under total body renovation, and we have toes here. And this is the, different aspects. And then we'll have the live masterclass here. And then when we go to metatarsals, right, there'll be another drop down underneath toes that includes the metatarsals. So again, that is the homepage in a nutshell. I'm going to be working on, perfecting this over the next few weeks. And again, we've had some difficult months, and I wanted to make August kind of special. So I've really risen up, I guess. I say step up. That's going to be the name of my vidcast, Step Up with D.L. Walker. But I was watching Hamilton last night and really inspired by the song. I don't know if it's called Rise Up, but he used that term. So if you have not seen Hamilton on Disney, I think they're streaming it for free still with a free Disney membership. But it's a wonderful play, most popular play on Broadway. I did not get to see it, but what is awesome with the story and the show, and what I think is great when you're watching it on video, is that I highly recommend accessing the subtitles so that you can read what they're saying, because it can be very difficult to, to really discern what they're talking about. And it's just a fascinating story. I haven't finished it yet, but loved it so far. So that, those are your questions. And I will look forward to seeing you guys live on the masterclass. And I hope you go ahead and take advantage of this opportunity and join the program, and, and hopefully keep with it, because I believe it will change your life and change your future. So that's why it's out there. Are there any other questions? I'll go to YouTube, and if not, I'm just going to go ahead and wish you all a good evening. And nope, no questions. So again, it's telling me to say something. I'll just put in that link again. And we will go ahead and be back tomorrow. And tomorrow, I'm not really sure what I'm going to talk about, but I will think of something. I'm actually hoping to maybe have a special guest, but we'll see. All right. Okay. Have a good night, everyone. Ciao.